G'day everyone, Jason Nunn from Fisherman's Warehouse Marine, Sweet Street at Warners Bay, your Newcastle Honda marine dealer. Thursday today, guys, because we've got this southerly. There's a little bit of coastal showers off the coast. They haven't moved in yet. And then tomorrow we've still got these sou'westers now. Saturday into Sunday, probably the only 2 days you're going to fish. And look, Sunday doesn't look too bad with variable winds, west to south, maybe a bit more sou'east in the afternoon. We've got some horrible weather possibly coming Tuesday, Wednesday, and I just had a look at the latest forecast. We could get a lot of rain and seas up to 7 metres on Wednesday. So, look, we're not out of it yet, and let's just hope that the east coast low that potentially can form does not dump another 400 or 500 mil anywhere along our coast, because we're just all sort of over it. So Sunday I think is going to be the pick of it. Now I'm going to give you a wrap up of what actually happened last weekend, and particularly from really Friday onwards. There were yellowfin out there, and quite a few. A lot of the guys got, I think I spoke to Alex through the week. They got 7. I know that Billy J. Lawrence, him and his team there, they got 6 one day. We mentioned that Dan from Sandy Bottom was going out, tagged 2 marlin on Friday, 2 striped marlin, around about 80 kilo, caught another nice yellowfin, but then went and did some deep dropping just to alter what he was physically doing. Saturday came, and again, same deal again, people catching yellowfin. There was another marlin tagged, out of the blue tagged another marlin, and everyone was catching fin. Had to travel a little bit. It was down in those 30s where we thought that temp break was, but they seemed to be in and around about that 21.5 prior to the temp break. But striped marlin, yellowfin, the odd dolphin fish, of course. So there was a real variety. No big yellowfin, guys. Anything from about 15 kilo up to I think about 28 was about the best. There were some better fish south down towards Sydney. There were some fish, that 40 to 50 kilo mark, and I believe there was a bluefin caught in and around that 60 kilo mark. That's the first sign of blues. Now, look, they turned up last year in and around about late July, August off our part of the coastline. It is quite early yet, but you just don't know that current pushing up and that temp break. Look, this is a very, very funny season, but the amount of yellowfin out there at the moment, schoolfish, ideal. Trolling hard bodies, lures like JB, probably 9-inch ones, little dingoes, perfect, or your halcos and all the likes of hard bodies, even casting stick baits, guys, Pro Fijis, the whole bit. Everything was working. It didn't really matter, but there was a lot of fish out there. Now again, I think Sunday could be the opportunity to get back out there, but incredible with the amount of striped marlin that were out, and a lot of guys seen striped marlin, and a lot of guys lost striped marlin. So quite a few fish on that wide. So, and look, I look at the charts, it hasn't really changed, but I reckon something might happen by that east coast low next week. In on the farm, got some nice reports. There were some really nice kings caught south, fish over 1 metre down on that Texas area. There's some big kings south. There was some really nice snapper caught up along the farm, which is great to see. I know my good mate Duncan Manderson was out there. They got some really nice fish, dozen fish up to around about that 2.5 kilo bracket. So some nice consistency through there. The inshore fishery, there was a lot of boats out last Saturday. We had an opportunity to get out last Saturday, went out with Banksy. We went south, we were looking for trag down around that Wyabung area. Never looked like catching a trag. Got a tailor, a lot of small trevally, but it was funny. The tide was rising, was at like 4:40 high tide in the afternoon, was absolutely perfect. The wind was pushing us from the north, so facing dead south, but the current was running back up the boat. So it was really difficult burling and fishing back under. We ended up with 10 really nice reds, I've got to say, up to about 2 kilos, so I was pretty happy with that. That's a nice bycatch, and probably the main catch, to be quite honest, but no trag. But then I got a text a couple of days ago, got a message on Facebook there. Ben Gow was down off Wyabung only a few days ago, bagged out on trag in an hour, and some really nice ones as well. So each day does differ, but the inshore fishery, fishing well. A lot of reds, still a lot of trag around, some nice flatties as well, and of course, consistencies with those mac tuna, and still, surprisingly enough, the odd bonito. There's been some really nice reds and a few cobia caught to the north, up around Broughton Island. So again, just an idea that water is still holding a lot of consistency with the fish. On the rocks, there's still some nice tailor and drummer, and of course, Ludric, but this weekend, really got to get down there early. As I say, that blow is going to be terrible, and a lot of salmon on the beaches. So salmon, still a few flatties, and there's still a few tailor right along the all the way, Blacksmiths, down towards Catho, up towards Stockton, and even probably up towards T-Guns. It'll be the same thing coastally all the way around, but some good opportunities. Now look, our high tides for this Saturday, 10:45 is going to be your high tide, and a little bit after 4 o'clock in the afternoon for your low. And the new moon rolled through last night, and it was a very big tide, that 212. It's going to start to recede back now, and that'll be a good thing receding back if we get a lot of rain in the middle of next week. Estuary-wise, a lot of fish around. I know our good mate Bobby Mowbray, the Blue Swimmer Crab Whisperer, or just the Crab Whisperer actually, he's been getting some beautiful crabs in the lake in that deeper water, but he also let me know yesterday that there are a lot of tailor moving around, and with that bit of breeze up, there was a lot of birds working. No real size to the tailor, but there's plenty there, and I do think that will be mixed in with tailor and salmon, so definitely down around that Pulborough Island area, south up, even back up towards Swansea, well worth the look, particularly on Sunday when we're going to have those lighter winds. But I think Saturday, that sou'wester in the morning would probably be ideal. Now, there are a lot of, I call them diamond trevally, some of the guys call them streamer trevally, but Wayne Flanagan sent me another photo through the week. He must have got 3 or 4 of those last weekend while they were fishing. They generally get them south, and these fish, they weren't too big, so the potential is, I suppose there's a potential where they've been getting caught probably for the last 15 or so years in Lake Macquarie, and some quite big ones, but these were small. So you've got to sort of think whether it's, whether they're breeding in the lake, possibly down around the power stations, or indeed we're getting the influence of, spawn coming down. But we'll take it, don't worry about that. But there's some nice fish around and a few mulloways. Now, Coops from Day Trip and Charters sent me a text, hadn't spoken to him for a little while. He has been catching some nice mulloway because it had dropped off, but really emphasised the fact you've got to have squid. It has not getting many on lures, and it's live squid in particular, but there's been some very big flathead also getting caught while they're fishing. These fish up around about that 85 to 90 centimetres. So still some very, very big flathead in the estuary, and there's still a lot of bream along the edges. And I just think that, that high tide in the morning, maybe worth a bit of a look. There was a few boats a minute ago up in Salts Bay. I just ducked up there to have a bit of a look. So things looking pretty good, but take advantage of it this weekend. I think we're probably spoilt for choice, and I think we'll be all crying if it starts to rain as bad as what it's going to do next week. All in all, guys, stay safe, enjoy your weekend, stay safe next week, and let's see if we can avoid the rain, and we'll probably do it next Thursday or Friday, rain depending. Good luck this weekend. I'll see you then.